Welcome to Had a Magical Day, the podcast about Disney parks that's like taking a vacation in the middle of your day. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Had a Magical Day. I'm your host, Scott Otto, and today our topic will be how to do all the rides in Magic Kingdom in one day, which I did recently, and we know not everybody wants to do all the rides in Magic Kingdom in a day. It can be a lot to do. So we're going to focus on how you get the most out of your day at the Magic Kingdom. Because I didn't actually start out intending to ride all the rides, but it just kind of happened as the day went on. So we just want to share some tips on how you can get the most rides in. If you just want to focus on your favorite rides, you want to get them all in one day because you only have one day in the park, then we have a lot of good tips for you for doing that. There's a lot of different tips. So tip number one is go when the park is less crowded. That sounds easy enough. I got a little bit lucky because I was going in summer, which is not the best time to go to avoid crowds, but it wasn't very crowded this summer. Attendance was down because prices were up. I think that was a big driver for that, but profit was up for them as well because the prices were up enough that they made profit even with less people. Hopefully that's not where they're going to go in the future with their pricing. There's a lot of ways they can kind of make a good experience in the park because right now, you have a lot of crowds and the rides breaking down. Not a great experience. So one way to do that, to control the amount of people in the park, is the reservation system, which they had in the pandemic and they're starting to phase out. Another way is simply raise prices so less people can afford to go to the parks. Wouldn't like to see that be the way that they go. Like the park to be as affordable as possible for most people, although it's very expensive right now. But the higher the prices go, the more expensive it gets and less people can afford to go. So hopefully they don't go in that direction. But anyways, it was a little less crowded than it would normally be in the summer, this past summer. Can't guarantee that that will be the case going forward. So as far as times of year you should pick, if you want to get the most for your money with less crowds, then you want to avoid any time that there's a school vacation. So basically, families with kids, they can usually only go on vacation when the kids are on school vacation. So obviously the summer is the biggest time for that. So you don't want to go during summer vacation months. So usually from the end of June through the beginning of September, not a good time if you're trying to avoid crowds. There's also a holiday vacation between December and January. You want to avoid that. The holidays in general you want to avoid because that's become big business at Disney now. They have Christmas events. They have people like to go for Thanksgiving, and there's the Halloween event. So basically from October to the end of the year, you do not want to go. Then there are other school vacation times, kind of varies around the different parts of the country. So, for example, in the Northeast, it's very popular to have a February vacation in the middle of February. And the Northeast brings a lot of business to the Disney World. That's why they built Disney World in Florida, was to get all the East Coast traffic that they weren't getting in Disneyland in California. So, February vacation is a bad time to go if you're trying to avoid crowds. There's also a break in April for school kids. Then you have college break in March. It's not as popular for going to Disney World, but still you want to avoid that time period. The best times to go are right after school vacation gets over, basically. So if you want to go mid-September to the beginning of October before the Halloween crowd kicks in, that's a good time to go. Also in January, after kids are going back to school after that holiday break, mid to late January, before you get to February vacation, that's a good time to go as well. And similarly, there's like periods around April that you can go as well before the summer picks up. So that's tip number one, is go when it's less crowded. Easier said than done, I realize. All right, tip number two is take advantage of magic hours. So if you're staying in the parks, your hotel comes with magic hours, you take advantage of those. If you're staying outside the park, there are some hotels that have it. I was staying outside the park at a Hilton in Disney Springs. You get the magic hours with that. And you really should call it magic hour now because it's really just 1 hour before the park opens. There's no after hour magic hours like they used to be. But take advantage of that. So we have this map of the park, and I'm going to kind of walk you through my day at the park. I took advantage of the magic hour and started at Space Mountain. And this was like at 8:30. The magic hour started at 8, so I didn't even get there at 8, which you really should if you're going to take advantage. I was just planning on having a nice relaxing day and doing my favorite rides. So the third tip is to get one of the big rides out of the way first thing. So that's why I did Space Mountain. There's usually a long line for Space Mountain. So I did that right at 8:30. You might want to you can try to do Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride or maybe Big Thunder Mountain or Splash Mountain if it was open. As you can see in this map, Splash Mountain was closed, so that doesn't count on the list of rides. And for folks who are listening who want to do like all the rides in one day, there's this thing called the Parkology Challenge. It's PARKEOLOGY.com, and they have a list of rides in Magic Kingdom and the other parks as well. But if you're just doing the Magic Kingdom one, it never counts if the rides are closed. You don't have to do rides that are closed, obviously. But they have things on their list that I didn't do. I was just trying to do all the rides that I cared about. And I did a lot of things that aren't on their list. They don't consider shows to be rides, but I do. So I did a lot of those things. We'll get to that. Also for folks who are going here who want to take advantage of some of these tips, like you said, you're not maybe doing all the rides, so you can do things a little bit differently than what I did, and I'll explain kind of as we go along. All right, so that's 3 tips already is, go when it's less crowded, get a big ride, use your magic hour, get a big ride out of the way off the bat. So 8:30, I do Space Mountain. And then when that's over, I come out and it's starting to rain a little bit. So I get on the People Mover. And that's a nice little ride. It goes around behind Space Mountain. And when I get off it, the rain has stopped. And so there's no line for Astro Orbiter, so I jumped onto that. So here's another tip. So this is tip number 4 is take advantage of bad weather. Okay. When you're in Florida, especially in the summertime, it rains almost every day. And if you can kind of plan around that rain, that's a good way to go. Like you want to maybe take a little break when it rains, but be in position to take advantage of no line at a big ride, right? So maybe if you're looking on your app and you see the Doppler radar, you know the rain's coming, you duck in to grab a bite to eat somewhere, maybe in Liberty Square, and then as soon as the rain is about to let up, you get in line at the Haunted Mansion, right? So you beat that crowd before they come back from the rain. I did that and got on the Astro Orbiter, and then after that was done, I went to Carousel of Progress. All right, so here's another tip. If you're doing this, let's say you don't want to do all the rides, but you want to get a lot of rides in, get your money's worth. If you're only going there for one day, you really do want to get your money's worth. And in Magic Kingdom, most everything you want to do is a ride for the most part, unlike the other parks. Like at Epcot, there's tons of food and things you might want to do that aren't rides. At Animal Kingdom, there's a lot of animal exhibits. You can spend a day just walking around looking at the different animals. But at Magic Kingdom, it's mostly the rides. And there's parades and fireworks. Fireworks you can do while you're waiting in line. For rides, you can see them, or even on some rides, you can see them. So really just have the rides and the parades and maybe character meet and greets if you want to do that. But so if you're not trying to do all the rides in a day, but you have a group of people and maybe some of them aren't very mobile, then what you want to do is what you see here, if you're watching the video, is, I'm doing a lot of rides in Tomorrowland. I started in Tomorrowland, I hit the rides I want to get on, and then I go somewhere else. So do as many rides as you can in one area if you with a group and you're not that mobile and you don't want to walk around a lot, and then move to the next land. You don't do all the rides. You just do the ones that you're really focused on, and then go to the next land. So after I do Carousel of Progress, I go all the way across down to Pirates of the Caribbean. So I do the Pirates of the Caribbean, and then right after that, I do the Enchanted Tiki Room. And by that point, it's 11:30, which is when I have my lunch reservation at Skipper's Canteen. So as I mentioned earlier, like Epcot has a lot of great food. There's not a lot of great food in the Magic Kingdom. The only 2 places that I really think are good are Skipper's Canteen, which is really good, and Be Our Guest, which is a nice experience and pretty good food. So if you're a family and you're doing Magic Kingdom and you want to do the most stuff you can do in a day and have a nice day and maybe not do all the rides, but maybe you're just going to focus on Fantasyland because you have kids and you want to do those rides, my tips for you would be get there early, take advantage of Magic Hour, do the Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride, get that out of the way, make a Lightning Lane reservation for Peter Pan, which is another big line. And 6 months ahead of your trip, you make a lunch reservation for Be Our Guest. So you can have a nice day there doing that, and you can spend whatever time you want doing the other rides in Fantasyland and knocking those out, and not being there till from opening to closing at the park, getting worn out. All right, so here we're at 11:30. I'm having lunch. It goes to like 12:20. I just had a relaxed lunch. I wasn't planning on doing all the rides at this point, but I was just having fun and doing the things that I wanted to do, like Space Mountain, Carousel of Progress, and Pirates of the Caribbean. So after lunch at 12:20, I walk across and do the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. and then the Magic Carpet rides, Aladdin's Magic Carpet rides. And that only took like 25 minutes. So it's 12:45. I'm making good time. And now I go over to Jungle Cruise. So I'm using the Lightning Lane for the Jungle Cruise. So that is another tip for you guys is to take advantage of Genie Plus and the Lightning Lane if you're trying to get your maximum fun at Magic Kingdom. If you're going to do one day, if you're on a long vacation, you're hopping back and forth. You're going to have a couple days in Magic Kingdom or a couple parts of a couple days in Magic Kingdom. I wouldn't spend money on the Genie Plus. You don't really need it, especially if it's not that crowded in the park. But if you have one day and only one day and you want to get as much as you can, then spend the extra money, get the Genie Plus, use the Lightning Lane. So I used it for the Jungle Cruise here. That saved me a lot of time. Got there at 12:45. I was done at 1:05. It's almost unheard of on most days at the Magic Kingdom. From there, I trekked all the way over to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And again, there is a fairly long wait time, but not that bad compared to usual. So this is the other tip. If you're trying to do all the rides, especially, but even if you're just trying to maximize your fun, is keep looking at that app, right? The Disney app has all the wait times. Keep checking it. If you see a drop in a time for a certain ride, then just change your plans and go do that ride, get it out of the way. So that's kind of what I was doing here. It's anything less than an hour for kind of these bigger rides. I'm going to hop on that and try to get that out of the way. So I did the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. That was at 1:05. I was done at 2 o'clock and started to go to Tom Sawyer Island. So this is one of those things that's not on the Parkeology challenge, but it's something I have great affinity for from my childhood. So I did the Tom Sawyer Island. And then after that, I did the Country Bear Jamboree. Another thing not on the official challenge, but that I always enjoy. So I did that. Then I even did this one because I haven't done it in a while. I really wanted to do it, and it's fun and it's easy, and it only takes a few minutes. But it's the Frontierland Shooting Arcade. And that was fun. I did that. And now it's 2:45. So I've already had a very good day at the park. I've kind of done most of Tomorrowland and almost all of the Frontierland. And now I'm, working my way into Liberty Square. So the next thing I do is the Hall of Presidents. And again, that's another thing I don't think counts as one of the official Parkology challenges. Anything that's a show and not a ride, they don't count. But it's a ride as far as I'm concerned, and I always enjoy it. So I did that. And now it's 3:15. Now it starts to get a little hairy. I'm not quite running around at this point. I'm still relaxed and enjoying my day, but I'm kind of bouncing back and forth based on the available wait times. So the teacups didn't have a wait time, so I zipped over there, which is a bit of a walk from where I was. So that was at 3:15. I did the Mad Tea Party. Then not too far away is Dumbo the Flying Elephant that I did. Then I did the Prince Charming Regal Carousel, which I had actually never done before in my life. So that was a first for me, and that was fun. And then I did Mickey's PhilharMagic, which is another thing I think I maybe did it once before, but it's been so long I didn't remember. So it was nice to do these rides that I hadn't done before and enjoy them. And that brought me up to 4:15. And I had a lightning lane for Haunted Mansion. So I did Haunted Mansion. And that was 4:30. So I've made really good time up to this point. And you can see I've covered a lot of ground. And I'm still kind of casual at this point. I didn't want to take a time for full dinner. I had a very nice lunch. I was pretty full already. So I had just Coke and popcorn for dinner and then waited for the steamboat to come. I would advise, maybe bringing some food with you if you're going to try to do all the rides in a day or whatever. Bring a protein bar or some water. Definitely stay hydrated. That's a big tip. Another tip that I haven't covered that applies no matter when you go, just like staying hydrated, is wearing comfortable shoes. And don't make the mistake I made once where I bought new sneakers for the trip because my old sneakers, I didn't trust them, so I bought new sneakers. Big mistake. Make sure that you have comfortable shoes you have broken in, that they're not brand new, or else you're going to get all sorts of blisters. So I did the steamboat, and then I went over to It's a Small World. So I got all that done. It was 6 o'clock. Now I was looking again, really focused on the wait times for rides, and I saw that the Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride had dropped below an hour. It was like 45 or 50 minutes. So I said, all right, I'm going to do that. So I ran over to Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride. But when I got there, the line was an hour now. It was saying an hour, maybe longer. And I had to debate, but I stay there. Should I jump out and do these other rides first and come back? So I did it. And this was probably my one mistake, although it worked out okay for me. Waiting an hour for that ride is, Disney policy is if you're in line before the park closes, you will get to go on that ride. They won't kick you off. So it might be the best strategy is Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride is probably the ride that has the longest line throughout the day. So if you can't do it in the morning and get out of the way, I would say save it for the very last minute. Get in line. In this case, the park was open till 10 p.m. Get in line 5 minutes before 10 and do that. You're going to save yourself an hour to 2 hours of waiting in line by doing that. So, but I did it. It was 6 o'clock and it took me till 7 o'clock to get out of that line and get through the ride. And then I went to Under the Sea, the Journey of the Little Mermaid, did that. And then I also did the Barnstormer. And so that brought me up to 8 o'clock. So now I only have 2 hours left. Time is limited. So now I start running around. So my next choice was Tron. And I ran over to the Tron ride, got in. That was also a long wait. It was about an hour for that. It was, from 8:15 to 9:15. So I get out there, I have 45 minutes left. I still have several rides to hit. I don't know if I'm going to make it. So I start running. But you can see already, I've gone through a ton of rides here and a very casual day. It's been 12 hours. I've done almost all the rides in the park and I haven't had to run around very much at all. But now I'm going to start running around. And you can see this path that I took from Tron to Winnie the Pooh. That was a lot of running, but there was no line. It took 15 minutes to do the Winnie the Pooh ride. So now it's 9:30. I jump out, there's no line for Peter Pan. This hardly ever happens. There's always a line for Peter Pan. So 9:30, 9:37, I do Peter Pan. Now I got to run all the way back across Fantasyland to get to the Tomorrowland Speedway. I do that from 9:40 to 9:50. And I get out there, I run over to Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, and I get out there at 9:58. So 2 minutes to spare, and I have finished. I have done all the rides that I wanted to do. The only things I didn't do that are on the Parkology Challenge are the railroad and the cars on Main Street. And I easily could have done the railroad at the beginning of the day when I got there. I had to got there a few minutes earlier, whatever. And the Main Street cars, I think that's an interesting one. They even have that on their list because I don't even see them half the time that I'm there. I haven't seen people riding one of those cars in like 3 or 4 years, but they still exist and they're still out there. So if you want to do the official challenge, you have to do that. So that was my day. I did 29 rides, or things I call rides, in 13 and a half hours. So that's pretty good value for Magic Kingdom money. Obviously, you don't have to do that many, but you can see using some of the tips that I gave you that you can do a lot of the rides that you want to do and have a good day and not run around like crazy. So just a quick recap of the rides I did starting at 8:30. We did Space Mountain, Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover, Astro Orbiter, then 9:30 to 10, Carousel of Progress, 10 to 11:30, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, followed by a nice leisurely lunch at Skipper's Canteen. And then I did Swiss Family Treehouse, Magic Carpets at Aladdin, Jungle Cruise using the Lightning Lane, then Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Tom Sawyer Island, Country Bear Jamboree, Frontier Shooting Arcade, and the Hall of Presidents. And it was only 3:15 at that point. Then I did the Mad Tea Party, Double the Flying Elephant, Prince Charming Regal Carousel, Mickey's PhilharMagic, Haunted Mansion. Then I did the Riverboat Ride, It's a Small World, Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride, Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid, the Barnstormer, Tron, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Peter Pan's Flight, Tomorrowland Speedway, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. And I'm almost tired from just saying all those rides. Never mind going on them. But the truth be told, I wasn't very tired at the end of the night. In fact, I have been a lot more tired at average days at Disney World than this day that I did all the rides. This was the end of June in 2023. It was like June 24th or something like that, that I did this. So and I think part of that too was A, I wasn't running around, but B, also wasn't like extremely hot. Like the heat can really take a lot out of you. So that's the other reason not to go in the summertime to try to do this because the heat is a killer. So again, the other tip I had, stay hydrated, wear comfortable shoes. That applies almost anytime you go to Disney World, but particularly in the summer. In the summer, don't try this in the summer. And like especially July and August, just take it easy and do what you can, take lots of breaks. Okay, so that was my day of doing all the rides in one day. And just again, to kind of go over the tips for maximizing your ride fun, here they are on this list if you're watching the video, but I will go over them for everybody on the podcast. So 1, go when the park is less crowded. 2, take advantage of the magic hours. 3, get one of the big rides out of the way first thing in the morning, whether it's Space Mountain, Dwarfs Mine Ride, or Thunder Mountain, or Peter Pan. Do that. Take advantage of bad weather for shorter lines because when the weather lets up, when that rain lets up, they're going to be some rides with very short lines or no lines at all, and you need to be ready to pounce on that. Use Genie Plus in the Lightning Lanes. If you're only going to be there for one day, spend the extra money to get the most out of it. 6, monitor the ride times and be ready to move. If you look and suddenly there's like any of these rides that tend to be an hour or so, and all of a sudden it's half an hour, you need to go jump on that ride, even if it means doing more walking back and forth. The corollary to this is that if you're in a big group or you have less mobile people and you don't want to be running around like that, then just focus on doing your favorite rides in one land before moving on to the next land. 7, save the Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride for last. I think this is probably the optimal strategy if you're trying to do all the rides in one day. Obviously, if you're not doing it all in one day and you're just trying to have a nice day, then maybe you don't want to be up with the kids till 10 at night or whatever the closing time is on the day that you're there. So don't do this. But if you're trying to do all the rides in one day, I think this is the best strategy. Save the Seven Dwarf Mine Ride until 5 minutes before closing. Get in line and do that. And 8, this is a tip for anytime you go, wear comfortable shoes, stay hydrated, maybe bring some power bars or some kind of food to snack on as well to save you time from waiting in line for food. So that is it. Those are the tips for maximizing your ride fun at the Magic Kingdom. And thank you for listening and have a great time. And hopefully you have a magical time next time you're in Disney World because of these tips. And we'll see you real soon.